So, a running theme throughout this evening has been your dissatisfaction, I suppose is one way to put it, or your opposition to what you see as a small fringe minority that has the loudest voice in Portland politics. Let's say that 3 days after you're elected as mayor, there is some kind of civil rights incident. Maybe someone gets shot, maybe a police officer shoots somebody, but for whatever reason, protesters appear in the streets of Portland from the left and begin to occupy the streets in the same way that they did in 2020. How does Mayor Rene Gonzalez respond to that that's different than how Mayor Ted Wheeler responded to that?
I'm not going to go down and get tear gassed. That was a horrific symbol at that point in time. And I think that Mayor Wheeler at times in 2020, at least if we're going to compare it to 2020 to 2025 or 2024, I think at times it was trying too hard to show, I guess the word is empathy for a part of that movement. So, and I say that, George Floyd is murdered. I think we all recoiled. I recoiled. I mean, exercising the First Amendment rights in that moment as a community felt absolutely the right thing to do, right? But there was a point in that transition as that summer goes on where, we're now dealing with multiple days of riots where, and so I think it took too long to call that what it was, and that's a riot. This is no longer someone just exercising their First Amendment rights. I think having gone through that, that shift will come much sooner for me, and I will be a strong advocate for prosecuting anyone who breaks windows on day one, much less day 5 of a protest, starting fires. That there has to be a criminal justice response to that part of that type of an event. Now, the reality, though, you look at the history of protests in Portland. I mean, 2020 was unique. I mean, in many, many respects. In fact, you may have seen the independent assessment of Portland Police's performance that was reported on about 6 weeks ago. From their vantage point, 2020 was unprecedented in U.S. history. Like, to have that many days of civil unrest continuously, it was truly unprecedented. And I mean, I have to think back about like the whiskey wars in the 18th century and early 19th century. I don't know if but that was their assessment. We had never seen this in U.S. history. So the difference is it's easy for me to be Monday morning quarterbacking on that and not living through it as he was in real time. But
well, sure, I'm not so much asking you to Monday morning quarterback as I am saying that Donald Trump could be elected president again in 11 months, and we're going to do it all over again. So what are you going to do? I
think there are differences now than even in worst case scenario that the demagogue gets elected and he's here in 2024, right? Let's play, that is sort of a worst case scenario for our city. I think there is no worse possibility for the city of Portland in the next presidential election than Donald Trump getting elected, precisely for what you're hinting at. But 2020,
I'm not hinting, I'm saying it aloud. They're going to be right.
But 2020 and the impacts of lockdowns and the pandemic and what that did to our psyche as a community and to the number of people that impacted, I don't see the same level approaching anything like what we saw in 2020 and 2024. I'm not discounting the risk, right? If Trump is elected, we have to face that reality. I think it's an early call to the governor to assess when do we need National Guard. The mayor was shut down twice when he asked Kate Brown for National Guard at the time. that we need to have that conversation early. And then second, something that doesn't get talked about enough, but our mutual aid support system for the city of Portland is completely broken. Clackamas County sheriffs, Washington County, they don't trust our DA. They don't believe historically that Portland elected officials support law enforcement. That was also part of that report, that they basically said Portland dropped dead, at a point in 2020. We're not coming. And that has to be part. Portland police were outnumbered for a substantial number of times, and we need to balance that out. So I'm much more proactive in reaching out to rebuild that. But if people are rioting, if they're starting fires, if they are breaking windows, it's commitment to go arrest those people and to get them prosecuted.